Hello and welcome to a game played on grass. Almost the full squad's here. The Prince of Rome is back. Hello Jake, welcome back into the fold.
Thank you.
Jake,
Welcome back.
Yeah, we've missed him, haven't we?
I have missed him.
Producer Matthew is with us tonight. He unfortunately has to work late, so he wasn't too chuffed last night when he was telling about us. So Matthew, when you're watching this later, we managed to get up and going without you.
He's happy about Leeds.
He is very happy about Leeds.
How couldn't you be, you know what I mean?
Best team in the world at the minute. And I didn't mean just without you. We did obviously want you back, don't worry about that. But we did manage without you, so just so you know. Yeah, plenty happened in the world of football this weekend, the world of English football anyway, that we're going to look at. Good week for you to come back. Our old friend Jose Mourinho had a meltdown. We're going to talk about, obviously, if you haven't seen our social media, we're going to talk about Mourinho tonight and Manchester United last night and Spurs, obviously. We're going to look at Jurgen Klopp as our manager feature and how things have started this season for Liverpool, and we'll chat a little bit about fantasy football. Just as before we move on, just briefly, Jake, happy with Arsenal's first win of the season on Saturday?
I think it's important after 2 defeats to get your first points of the season, however they come about, but there was positive signs against Chelsea, that a number of chances that they just didn't take on the day, and I think the confidence is definitely improved in the group. With 2 weeks now of international break upcoming, I think that will give Unai Emery the opportunity to work with these group of players that a lot of them will still be in Colney training ground, and I think that will give them an opportunity to build going forward into September, October time. You know?
It was almost like sort of the start of your season, really, wasn't it? Because the first 2 games were tough and sort of giving yourself sort of free ones. And
very tough start. Like,
yeah, it was mad.
Arsenal have not done well against the big teams recently, so it's no surprise that they lost those games. I wouldn't read, I suppose, I'm not going to read too much into them if Arsenal can go on and win a few games now consecutively, but you know, it's just important to get 3 points.
Yeah, and one of the goals, was it
17 passes in 47 seconds, which was excellent from Monreal's goal.
Yeah, that's very good.
And that's, you know, something like that was very similar to Obi's goal last weekend against Chelsea. You know, these are the sort of possession-based attacks that Emery is trying to build with this Arsenal team, and I think the players are starting to be receptive to these ideas, and that bodes well for the future. Definitely.
Nice to see you get off and running.
Yeah.
Those 3 points is obviously pivotal for Emery. Like, and you know my thoughts on him. I think he'll do quite well. But another manager who did not get 3 points, didn't get 3 points, conceded 3 goals, and has won 3 Premier League titles, was Jose Mourinho. He didn't take that well last night.
He didn't, and that's a bit of an understatement. Do you know what though? I think before the game, no matter what the scoreline was, I think Mourinho had planned this anyway. I would nearly go as far as to say he planned for defeat, and because why else would he have all these facts waiting to, you know, give to the media after the game? And what really sort of annoys me about Mourinho is that they spoke about it last night on the coverage on Sky Sports. He never lets you see his emotion when he's feeling down or his team's doing poorly. He puts on this
persona,
this bravado, and it's uncomfortable to watch, you know, for everyone. Like, even if you're because I watched it several times when he was the Chelsea manager, and you feel like you can't back him when he's being such a insert expletive, you know, and even he knows rightly. He's a very intelligent man, that the camera's on him and going and applauding the. I mean, he talked about the fans remaining. A lot of them didn't remain.
There was about 6.
Do you know what I mean? And again, it's the Mourinho thing where we're doing it again. We're talking about him when his team were so poor.
Yeah. But let's, before we go on, we will talk more about Jose Mourinho and how he reacted. Let's look at his team and talk about what went on. For the first, like, we were watching last night, Jake. Obviously, you're busy, you're doing a bit of refereeing. We couldn't work out who was playing where.
No, nobody could.
Because it came through about an hour before kick-off that Matic was supposed to be starting at centre half, and they were going maybe 3 at the back with Matic, Jones and Smalling. So we were like, okay, that's fair enough. And then it started. Matic clearly wasn't playing centre half.
No.
Valencia was playing like at the top of the three up front at times. Herrera dropped into right back and then he dropped into three. I just looked all over the place. Now, as Gary Neville said last night, they started quite well and there was high pressure and they were pressing Arsenal from the front for 30 minutes. But it was chaos. Like, it wasn't measured what you'd expect from Jose Mourinho at all.
There was no organisation.
But you see, the pressure is building on Jose, and this has happened before. He's doing all that he can to prevent it happening. And the advice that I would give him would be he needs to spend less time considering what he's going to say when his team loses and more time actually preparing them for the challenges in the match. He earns his money when he has his team prepared well for the 90 minutes of the game. Whatever you say before or after the game is really meaningless. What matters is what happens in the 90 minutes.
And the thing,
he's lost sight of that.
Yeah. And he loses sight of it all the time in this third season. And it's a pattern now that everyone recognises. And really the thing that we, or certainly some people have admired about Mourinho in the past, myself included, is how well organised he has a team and how dogged they are and how structured they are.
He's built his career on an organised team like it.
And it's almost as if he threw all that out the window last night just to make a wee point and make a dramatic performance about himself. Come onto the pitch and congratulate Luke Shaw and go round hugging his players when they've just been beat 3-0 at home by a title rival. Nobody really thinks United are going to win the league, but that's what they should be aiming for. So it's all again in this third season come down to Mourinho and it's all about me and what I've done and I've proved my point and you should be giving me more respect, and probably now is the time to make your point about Wenger, which I think is a valid one.
He's a specialist in failure apparently, Jake. He's also won the same amount of titles as Jose Mourinho.
Well, at this rate of going, Mourinho won't win any more titles because his days are numbered, and I think if he does finish as Manchester United manager, he won't be back in the Premiership. Do you think that's a fair remark?
I don't think he's going to get a top 6 job. It's interesting there that an old neighbour of mine, Neil Shaw, hello Neil, and congratulations on the new baby as well, Neil, he looks class, is a big Wolves fan. And he's saying here that Jose made sure one thing that you were just saying, Brenton, that you agree with Jake, that he pushed the blame on his players and himself. Just awful from a manager and the complete opposite of what a good one should do. They need a Nuno, obviously Nuno Espirito, what's it?
Nuno Espirito Santo.
That's it. There's only one Nuno and he's a Wolf. I actually was going to say something, it wasn't because Neil has commented, that I could see Jose managing Wolves at some point because of Jorge Mendes and the Portuguese element that's in there. I don't think he'll manage on the top 6 side if he goes from Manchester
If you want
United.
Wolves to be absolutely destroyed, then yes.
I wouldn't, and we'll talk about Wolves in the next couple of weeks. I like what Wolves are doing, and they're class to watch. But that's where I could see something. I couldn't see him taking another top 6 job, Jake. I couldn't. He's not going to go Liverpool.
No.
He's not going to go Spurs. Chelsea won't have him back.
No.
He's not going to Man City, and there's not a mission he's going to Arsenal.
This is a man who branded Arsene Wenger a voyeur. He also said he was a specialist in failure.
Yeah.
Among other things, he had numerous spots with Wenger on the touchline, and then he demands respect. It comes a time where Jose needs to recognise that in order for him to receive respect of others, that he needs to be a respectful person himself. And to be honest, it just isn't the case. The ironic thing last night for me was after the game, he went over and he congratulated, he put his arm around Luke Shaw, a player that he's lambasted for so long. Like, how do you think that player really feels? I'm sure he's happy to be in the team, but does he really trust Mourinho?
And he's probably the only player that could come away from last night that played well for Manchester United for the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were different. Maybe not good, but they were different last night than what they have been so far this season.
Players have to buy into, they have to trust the manager. And this is a manager who from one day to the next could lambast the players, as Neil was saying there. Really, out of the blue, he could just absolutely tear them to shreds and then expect them to perform to their highest standard at the weekend. These players don't trust him, and that, I suppose, was made clear by his decision to bring in Michael Carrick, or by Ed Woodward's, whoever's decision it was to bring in Michael Carrick to the management's setup, and the players are not on the same page as Mourinho.
And as much as he tries to group himself in with the fans and the players as united, which he said last night, obviously trying to unite them against the board and blame the board for not bringing in more players. But if all you need to do is look across at the other team last night who brought in no players, and look at the manager who coached his team into the shape he wanted, rather than talk nonsense in the media about when you've had, you know, how much has he spent? Like
Millions.
400
hundreds of millions,
Yeah.
400 million, and you still can't put together a team at home who can put it up to a title rival. You're not going to get very far.
And just on Spurs played last night like in a European away game. I thought they were absolutely perfect. They weathered the storm for the first 30 minutes, and as Gary Neville was pointing out last night on the Monday Night Show, then he knew they were going to click and that was going to be it. And a player actually who, if I was Pochettino, I would have got a serious boot in the hole afterwards, would have been Dele Alli. He could have easily had a hat-trick.
Yeah, another night that could have cost them a result, you know, because especially at a stadium where it's so hard to go there and take away the points. Well, it used to be, you know, before Mourinho took over. And Dele Alli could have cost them.
There was the one that Smalling saved from or blocked on him, I think 20 odd minutes in, but there was another one towards the end of the second half, or in the first half, sorry. And it highlighted as well the issue that Mourinho had with his defence, and also how badly they were playing, apart from Luke Shaw, as we said. There's a ball's given out to Ericsson, and he's sort of in the middle of the pitch, about 35 yards out, and he looks up. And when Christian Eriksen gets a chance to look up, you're in big trouble. And he's able to float a ball out to the left hand side where Dele Alli was, and Dele Alli has literally 15 yards of space, circle, around him, where he can decide what he's going to do next. Now he fluffs his lines. Someone a wee bit more clinical, Eden Hazard, Aubameyang, Mane or Salah, whatever, Aguero, somebody a wee bit more clinical. Harry Kane, if that would fall into, or Lucas Moore, the way Lucas Moore was on last night, that's buried. And it was just so, I was watching the game back tonight, and it was just so confused as to how naive some of these Manchester United players have become.
And can you think of a time under Fergie where, I mean, Spurs hadn't won at Old Trafford in 24, 25 years or something, that a Spurs team could go there, win 3-0 for a start, but it'd be afforded that space, that much grass at Old Trafford to run into, and
Fergie
have the opportunity to miss 5 or 6 chances and still win 3-0.
Fergie used to say, lads at Spurs, was that his famous line? Spurs were beating them at White Hart Lane or something, 2-0. I think it's the game Beckham came back and scored the winner or something, but Spurs beating them 2-0, and he walked in and he said, lads at Spurs. I think that was his team talk. And Gary Neville and Jimmy Carragher, I don't know if you've seen it last night on football, they were talking about how Spurs would do a Spurs, you wouldn't trust them to go on and do things.
Win away at
a big six and win comfortably away, and that's what they did last night. Now, what did you make of Lucas Moura's performance?
Excellent.
And look, that again comes back to a manager.
Yeah.
Lucas Moura came in in January. He was gently coerced into the system that Pochettino likes to play. He's formulated an excellent partnership with Harry Kane, and now at the beginning of this season, having had that bedding in time, is performing to his level. And I think that is absolutely excellent from Mauricio Pochettino. The only thing that would concern me about Pochettino was starting Lloris. You know, he was obviously caught for drink driving during the week. He's a professional footballer who has a lot of responsibility, and based on the nature of Tottenham's narrow squad, he had to choose him. So basically it's saying to the other top players, Kane, you can go out and do whatever you want because you're going to play anyhow because we've nobody really to come in for you. And that's the thing that would worry me. The player power at Tottenham may eventually oust Pochettino.
The real issue is the squad depth.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think will catch them.
Yeah. You know, a long run in the Champions League, and so they go deep into the FA Cup, and in around Christmas when there's lots of games, that's when you could get injuries, you could get players suspended for crucial games. That's the sort of thing where the other teams around them can bring in, like Liverpool can now bring in Shaqiri, Mane is injured, or you know, Willian, Pedro, Hazard can come in for Chelsea. So there's nobody really especially if Son, is going to be away as well. Like that'll be a massive miss.
He should be back after the national break possibly, but if they lose Harry Kane, even though Lucas Moura is playing very well and he's done brilliantly, and obviously Son adds a bit, then you have to wonder.
Kane's not sort of irreplaceable like for Tottenham. He's irreplaceable probably for most teams, but especially Tottenham because same Man City lose Aguero, Jesus is there as well.
Arsenal lose Aubameyang with Lacazette.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no obvious sort of player type at Tottenham to replace Kane.
No.
But just going back to United and Mourinho, there's no, United aren't the force they were, and I actually really disagree with Gary Neville saying last night that United are different and they'll be loyal to the manager and.
When he's talking about Chelsea,
yeah,
I knew you were going to bring that up. Go on ahead.
But
go
it's
ahead.
It's not just the United Chelsea thing. I just think there's an attitude at United that they do think they're better, and United haven't won a league in 5-6 years or something, and they are not the team they were, and it's because the Fergie's not there. Ever since he left, it was always going to happen, but it's gone downhill.
Yeah, David Gill also, which was massive for Alex Ferguson. And,
two big losses at the same time was never going to be good for that football club. And yes, they might be soaring commercially, but on the pitch they are not the force they used to be. And United fans are going to have to get used to it, because if Mourinho does go, which it looks like he might at some stage, who can United really attract in that's going to want to take that project on? Because he's left it in a bit of a mess at the minute.
They could go for Antonio Conte. They could go for Zinedine Zidane, but both of those are going to want backed. And whether United are going to back that, or whether I know it's Manchester United, so players will still want to go, but there has been noticeable players this summer that have turned sort of Manchester United down and went elsewhere.
Listen, Premier League, who is a more attractive prospect if you're a player from Europe coming into the Premier League? You go Man City, Spurs. Arguably, with the two new projects at Chelsea and Arsenal, you go there first before you go to Old Trafford. So they're
certainly in this current climate at Old Trafford.
Mourinho was the man brought in. He was the man that they made a mistake in David Moyes and Louis van Gaal. They made mistakes. This was the man who had been there and done it, who was going to win them the title once again, who was going to bring back the glorious years of Alex Ferguson. That's what we were told when he was brought in. He hasn't delivered, and his days are most certainly numbered.
Interesting. But just before we go off as well, and we're going to talk a little bit about Jurgen Klopp in a minute, and Liverpool obviously they've had a very good start. Like the third goal, I know the second goal's been highlighted because there were so many mistakes in it as well. And again, Christian Eriksen's given the freedom of Old Trafford to put a ball across Lucas Moura. The third goal is 4 defenders against 2 attackers, and not one of the defenders lays a mark or a finger on Lucas Moura, and he's able to run through. He doesn't even need Harry Kane. It could have been 4-on-1, and he's able to score. And it's not as if Lucas Moura, he was brilliant last night, but it wasn't as if he scored like one of the world's greatest goals. When you look at it again, if we saw that down in the park and Portadown, you'd be thinking he's woeful, that centre half.
Yeah.
He is absolutely brutal. You'd want to be going on against him yourself. This is Manchester United we're talking about, and that isn't like. It's not as if these players, Smalling, Jones was off injured, but Smalling and there was say Herrera or whatever. These aren't like, they're not tubes. They get called tubes, but these are players that played at World Cups, that played in Champions Leagues, that played in Europa League finals, and they were doing stuff then, and they were playing well then. And it feels like Mourinho's almost like us watching Harry Potter weekend, so like a Dementor. He sucked the life out of them, like we sucked the football brain out of someone.
100% down to the manager. 100%. He has brought in enough players and enough talent to, perform a lot better than they have so far. Certainly at Brighton. Yes, the first 30 minutes last night was more intense, you could maybe say.
Yeah.
But Mourinho's, attitude has sucked the life, yes, and the confidence out of the players as well.
Is the big thing.
Look at Lukaku missing those chances. that he did.
That was a bad chance when he took it round Lloris.
Alexis, when he since
Alexis
he's joined,
Sanchez has simply just gone. He's fallen off the shot.
I actually forgot.
Martial, Rashford, all these players
He's ruining.
aren't playing well.
I actually forgot that Alexis Sanchez was part of the Manchester United squad last night, and then he came on. I was like, oh, why?
But like,
Pogba.
I wasn't
World Cup
expecting
winner.
him to start.
the thing about it is, Alexis Sanchez, Mourinho had to get him to Manchester, brought him in, paid him an absolute bumper contract, and that upset a number of the Manchester United players. It's alright paying him the bumper contract if he delivers. He hasn't delivered. He's now a sub. And like realistically, when Sanchez used to be playing, he used to put the fear of God into the defence.
Yeah, every
Now
defence.
he's like, it's Sanchez.
I like,
You know.
yeah, I totally.
It is like
I
that.
totally
You'd rather
get that.
Davinson Sanchez on the wing than him, like, to be honest. You know, you'd
You'd
have
rather Carlos.
Carlos.
Who's Carlos Sanchez going
West
to?
Ham.
West Ham, that's right now. But yes,
even look at Paul Pogba, who was so influential in winning a World Cup. He should be coming back to United, absolutely bouncing off the walls, ready to.
he came back and immediately looked.
take on teams
a
like Brighton.
Dementor from Portugal called Jose Mourinho has sucked the life out of him.
That is the case, and do you know what? Paul Pogba can still go.
I
Yeah,
think-
there's still time left. To
I
go
think-
and transfer him.
A departure from Mourinho would give the sufficient oxygen for a collective inhale of breath and a restoration of young Manchester United's project, you know?
Well, it's interesting to see. I personally don't think he'll make it into the new year at Manchester United.
Yeah.
But it's Jose Mourinho. He's won everything in the game, like club level. So
If you were a United fan, you know, who do you want to stay at the club, Mourinho or Pogba?
Mourinho or Pogba, Martial, Sanchez, Rashford.
you can't.
You know, because it looks like, you know, if Mourinho stays and they back Mourinho, Pogba will go.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like to me.
yeah.
We'll maybe stick that up as a poll on our Twitter after the show.
Yeah,
just to see what United fans
Anyone
think.
that's
You know,
that's
if they're
watching the
backing
show,
Mourinho or if they're backing Pogba.
any of the lads that are watching, the boys and girls are watching the show either now or they're watching it later on. I know a lot of you watch it later. Comment on this and let us know what you think and chat to us what you think about what's going on with Jose Mourinho, and obviously Breton's we're going to put a poll up later, so get involved in that. Another manager though that I'm very happy to talk about is Jurgen Klopp. I'll not talk about him too much because I don't think it's fair.
I talked enough about Sorry.
You did very well, yeah, you did very
you can
well.
go on ahead.
So he's into what is it, his third year now? At the Reds, 3.5 seasons now or something he's been in like. And
Strange that, isn't it? That's half season, like.
yeah, he came in a sort of October time,
Yeah.
and his first game was against Spurs. They drew 1-1. Yeah, I'm going to ask you something because we talked about it on my stag do at the weekend that Brenton made me dress up as Marlon Fellaini as. Interesting with Klopp. So I want to get your opinion on it. I'm going to ask you a question and I want your opinion on it that I'm going to argue against because I know what your opinion is going to be. Do you think this season, like Jurgen Klopp, we know what everyone knows about his team play. I personally think this year Liverpool have changed a little bit even more. I think players are a little bit more fluid, and I think there's even more. What's the right word I'm looking for here, Jake? You'll be able to help me. Emphasis. Boom. On the fullbacks and how they play and how heavily they're involved. Which is a bit more last year. We really did depend on the front three. But a successful season, in my eyes, would be challenge and really push Man City for the title, which I think Liverpool can do, and go far again in the Champions League. Do you think not winning a trophy would constitute as a failure of a season? Do you think basically Klopp needs to win a trophy this season for it to be deemed successful? Who wants to go in first?
Go on ahead there, Brendan.
Yeah. I don't think that Liverpool are going to sack Jurgen Klopp if he doesn't win a trophy. But if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be, and I'm picking this word very carefully, I would be expecting a trophy this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Klopp has identified the problems that were at Liverpool. He has fixed them tactically. He has introduced his own style of play, as you say, and in the last 12 months he has been also backed financially, which I think is or was the last
Piece
key,
of the jigsaw.
yes, that has completed this project in terms of what Klopp wants in his head. Now they need to go on and be successful, and being successful is winning trophies.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, look, at the end of the day, this 6-foot friendly giant who has been successful at Mainz, who has been successful at Borussia Dortmund, needs to be successful in terms of winning a trophy for Liverpool this season. You know, they've been in 3 finals, they've lost them. Okay, now we can't, you know, you're probably saying, oh, of course he's going to talk about that.
No,
what I'm
fair,
saying is,
fair.
for the good of Liverpool Football Club, I think to galvanise the fans, you know, an interesting fact about Ralph Honigstein did a biography on
I want
Jurgen
to get
Klopp.
it.
And he talked about Jurgen Klopp was interviewed for the Liverpool job. Just before he was interviewed, Carlo Ancelotti was interviewed. Carlo Ancelotti went into the interview and said, I want to sign a centre half, I want to sign a centre midfielder and a striker because I need a solid spine of the team, right? Jurgen Klopp came in and he said, I want to galvanise the fans. I want them to feel euphoric about this club and this team. Now, based on what Liverpool Football Club chose, they've obviously gone down that line of feeling, of emotion, because that's the sort of club it is, right? To just put, I suppose, the seal on that, a trophy is needed.
But also, it's so interesting listening to you saying that about what Ancelotti said. They've gone and got
A centre half.
a centre half. They've gone and got
A goalkeeper.
a goalkeeper. They've gone and got a centre midfielder.
Yeah.
And they've gone and got a pretty strong front 3.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, that board or whoever was in that interview have said, Ancelotti got a point there, but we're this type of club.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
And marry it.
Yeah.
Look, it's very easy for everyone. Like everyone, people look at Arsenal and say they need a centre half. Look, any of us could do that. It's the way that a manager approaches a club and the way that the marriage will work. Klopp suited Liverpool absolutely down to the ground.
There's no one more in world football suited Liverpool football.
And I think that I would just love to see Liverpool winning something this season. And if they don't, there will be some players, like, I know how this feels. I remember Arsenal being close to the Premiership a number of years ago. I remember that game with Birmingham City where Eduardo's leg was broken, Gallas was crying on the pitch. It was an absolute meltdown. Now, Arsenal were playing unbelievable football then. We're destined for the title. I remember Paul Merson sitting on Sky Sports News, there were a few points clear at the top, and he says they've one hand on the trophy and they managed to lose it.
I was at Anfield that day.
That would have made a new era for Arsenal Football Club.
So that's an
And
exciting
they
doors
didn't
moment.
take it.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it'll be the same for Liverpool if they don't take this opportunity. They have become very fluid. They have improved players. Robertson coming from Hull City, Trent Alexander-Armstrong coming from the academy. They have made the best of what they have, right?
A ready-made centre half in Van Dijk.
Yes. A goalkeeper who's world class, recognised by everyone as being an absolutely brilliant shot stopper, who's going to, I suppose, save you points in a season rather than give points away that carries.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no weakness.
They need
That's a big
to win. They need it's a must. You know why? Because Liverpool aren't at that stage yet where clubs like Real and Barcelona won't come looking for Mane or Salah. And if Liverpool don't win, those players will go. Because you have to remember that those players are exceptional footballers. You want them winning at your club because they've got a finite career and they want to win.
What do you think he has to win then? If you know my opinion on the domestic trophies, the FA Cup just boils my head because it goes on for too long. Like, I know there's tweaks on it.
It'll be shorter this year,
yeah. Which, you know, and listen, if we win the FA Cup in May, for that day, certainly I'll be overjoyed. Like, I'll be absolutely buzzing. Just with what Cantona did in 1986, I still have really bad memories of it. But what do you think he has to win? And if you're watching the show there, you're watching later on, let us know what you think. Do you think he has to win a domestic trophy, or do you think it's now or never? Liverpool have to take this opportunity, and only 3 games in, and try and win the title. Because I would sack everything off to win a Premier League.
I think, yes, like I think that has
I think the time has come for Liverpool to challenge and win the title.
That's
And I
fair
know
enough.
it's gonna put like you probably think, God, like I just hope that happens, and if it doesn't happen, then it's gonna be like, oh God, like that should have happened. But it's not to put pressure on anybody. I just think that if you look at, like, against Manchester City last year, of course the first game, the Mane incident and Ederson, okay, what happened at Anfield? Liverpool will beat Man City. It's the defensive lapses that cost them against weaker teams, or the lack of clinical cutting edge at the top end of the pitch. They have improved that. They're more fluid in attack, they're more rigid in defence. What more else can Klopp do?
And they've strengthened the midfield, and as you said as well, they have put more emphasis on the fullbacks.
Yeah. If you watched Saturday's game, and I know they only ended up beating Brighton 1-0, and another thing as well, right? Teams used to come to Anfield, and I know this because when I lived in Liverpool, it was coming down the Rockford Beneath this time when it was getting a bit blurry. They were starting to feel this here, and then obviously Roy was in, Kenny was in, and Rodgers was there. You knew this was happening. Teams would turn around Anfield of the level that Brighton are at, which, you know, it's not disrespectful to Brighton, they're in Premier League, and they could think we could get something. They're the top 6 team that you can go after. And now teams turn up at Anfield and they're like, if we get out of here with a 1-0, 2-0 defeat, then we've done really well here. Like Brighton.
Now they turn up at Old Trafford and think that.
Aye, that's very true. Brighton, like, and obviously Brighton didn't celebrate that they only got beat 1-0, but you could sort of tell that even their fans were all like, well, here we did alright there, you know. We kept Liverpool to 1 goal, held our own, could have nicked a draw in the end, only for a good save from Alisson, which is what you were saying.
Yeah.
He's come in and he's making pivotal saves. But the whole point now, and Klopp's done that Anfield now is this place where teams go to, not the likes of Man City or Chelsea, they'll go there to try and win, or Arsenal, but the teams down below that will go there and think, you know, I don't really fancy this today, like we need to really be tight in here because we don't want to get opened up and torn apart.
And the reality is that won't only happen to teams like West Ham, that could happen to any team at Anfield.
Yeah.
Like Real Madrid could come and that could happen to them.
I want them in the Champions League.
That's how good and how fine tuned this team is. Now, of course, you have to factor in injuries, and it's not going to just be plain sailing all season. There will be games where you're going to have to dig in and win, and I think they've got the ability to do that. But you know, if you just look at one thing here, for example, I just wanted to share this with those who are watching. In his first game in charge, his bench was Bogdan, Kolo Touré, Randall, Teixeira, Allen, Sinclair and Ibe. His first bench of this season, Karras, who's now gone out, Fabinho, Klein, Henderson, Lallana, Shaqiri and Sturridge.
It's a lot, obviously.
Like, that is an unbelievable achievement from Klopp.
Listen, every time somebody says Liverpool are doing well and they're going to win the league, I think I lose about a week of my life because they're just the ultimate stress mode.
But you have to own it now.
But another thing, Brendan, I just don't want to miss this opportunity. He became manager of Borussia Dortmund in 2008.
Yeah.
He won the title in his
2009.
third full season. And this is his third full season as Liverpool manager. This is the time.
And then he won the game the year after.
Yeah.
I did not need to hear that.
He also became manager of the year, German manager of the year. That seemed weird.
Yeah. No, listen, everybody knows I watch, so I'm a mad Liverpool fan, and obviously this has been superb, like watching the whole thing throughout and seeing how they've developed under Jurgen Klopp. Just crack that door open every time with Brendan to see the signal come through. But yeah, it's, as we said, they're a little bit different this year. They're not relying on the front three as they were. I know Salah scored obviously, and the front three. If you've seen the goal on Saturday, Milner wins it back, snappy tackle in the final third, and then it goes Mane, Firmino, Salah. It's like boom, 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 and then Salah scores. But the fullbacks have become so pivotal, and when you have Joe Gomez who looks at Van Dijk the way I look at him and just instantly falls in love with him, and then you have Alisson behind. There's such a, like, it's all, this could happen. Leicester could come and do very well against the side, but there's a thing like, we're so good at the back now. Yeah. You know, as a fan, even, like, look at us, we've got big
But
Virgils.
that even puts confidence into the midfield, and they can be more tenacious than the tackle like Milner has been.
Yeah.
You know, they can drive at it because they know Van Dijk, Gomez, they're pretty good one-on-one if they're ever left one-on-one. They've got very pacey wing backs. You know, there's that ease in the Liverpool play, and that's what makes a great team. And this Liverpool Football Club need to win. They need to win a big competition, because ultimately, since the Champions League victory, which is how long ago now?
13 years.
You know, this Liverpool it's really taken this long to rebuild Liverpool.
It's been long.
You know,
it's been horrendous.
But that, I think that's a great point about what you're making there about the midfield being able to trust their backline and their goalkeeper this season as well, because these players now as well are more aware of stats and what people are talking about
Social media,
in terms of social media. They're seeing all the stuff we're seeing about the Liverpool defensive record since Van Dijk has come in.
11 clean sheets in 18 games.
Yeah, that it's the best in the Premier League since he's come in or something, isn't it?
I think it might be 12 now since started, but yeah.
So this is all feeding into their subconscious brain as well, which is...
This is a hard team to score against.
Yeah, we are a hard team to score against as well. So... And that builds confidence. It's the complete opposite of what's happening at United.
Remember Czech went through that spell where he kept clean sheets for like so many consecutive
About
minutes.
20 years.
Like, people, like, you could actually see strikers when they approached him one-on-one or whatever, they actually crumbled, because they're like, we can't actually score past him.
What do we do next?
You know, and it is subconsciously, it has a major impact on, I suppose, the application of simple tactics.
I think it's been... is it nearly 20 months? I think it's April 2016 since they lost at home, I think it's April 2016 since they lost at home, which is some going. They went the whole way through last year, 22 whatever amount of games it was, didn't lose at home. Which is...
They're impressive.
It's just mad for me as a Liverpool fan on top of this, because in my head I'll just go off on one and there'll be no sleep tonight now. I'll be watching videos of Liverpool training, Klopp's press conferences, reading everything, looking at all the fixtures, seeing when we're going to get injuries, planning right when we'll get injuries, who international breaks, all that madness, because that's the way my head goes. Ian McConville, who's a Newcastle fan, and Conor Portis, who's also a Newcastle fan, so say hello to each other, lads. You'll both see each other at my wedding anyway. It's hard to see them having a better chance than this year. Filippo, the two lads, I know think that, and I kind of think that as well. Just obviously, Man City are gonna bounce completely back from drawing with Wolves the weekend.
But as I've said, I think I said last week or the week before, Man City are not going to do what they did last season. They will drop points, which
They'll have their eyes on Europe as well.
What's that?
They'll have their eyes on Europe.
Yeah, that's their main focus. That's what Pep's been brought in for. That's what the money's for. Yes, winning Premier League's all very well, but it's the Champions League that Man City want to win, haven't won it yet. But the point I was going to make is that Man City will drop points. What was their run of
18 games or something, was it last year?
Yeah,
and
but
then
they
we
won
beat
in a
them,
row, like.
and Liverpool beat them, yeah.
ridiculous, and already we're seeing a difference.
I know they beat Arsenal and they could have probably beaten them by more, but they didn't. Last year that Manchester City team would have pushed on, could have won 6-0 at the Emirates. 2-0, they became quite lackadaisical. Arsenal could have got back into the game, arguably should have had a penalty in the last 10 minutes when Mendy fouled Mustafi, I think it was. I think they've taken the rise of the prize, and that is not a good sign for Guardiola, but it's a great sign for other people in the league.
Conor Portis as well. With regards to what Liverpool should win, there's only 3 domestic trophies available, and all 3 are hard to win. Look who's won the FA and League Cup recently. None of them should be sniffed at. No, 100%. Like, I just don't particularly enjoy the domestic cups. I'm just obsessed with it. I just want us to win the league. I'm just obsessed with that, to be honest. But I do 110% get, and obviously Connor's Newcastle fan, so he probably thinks I was being disrespectful there towards the League Cup and the FA Cup, but I really wasn't. And I'll be the biggest, I'll be on the roof here for the League Cup in February, especially to beat one of these two teams, and I'm able to have the crack on the Tuesday night afterwards. Or
we'll be in the Europa League final.
If they win in May, if they win the FA Cup, I'll be absolutely delighted. It'll be a brilliant day out. But my head is just I want them to go after the league. Jordan, Conor Portis hasn't got a clue. That's very mean, and I lived with Conor for 3 years, and he does have a clue. So yeah, it's interesting. Look, Liverpool I think they've improved this year despite they haven't blown every team away 4 or 5-0. I don't think they will this year because teams will be better. I thought as well Brighton defended superbly on Saturday.
Do you think Brighton have anything to worry about? No.
No, I think
No way.
Brighton are going to be fine. Like,
I hope they do. I like them.
yeah, and just as like Ireland fans, like we would be, and everyone knows I sport, try and follow both. Shane Duffy had another decent game. Like, so
He's
playing
very
quite
decent
well.
player, yeah.
Obviously doesn't play well enough for Declan Rice to want to play with him, but that's a debate for another day. Before we sort of move on, we want to talk a little bit quickly about fantasy. The rest of the results: Chelsea had a 2-1 win, a hard-fought 2-1 win against the lads Newcastle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the lads think about Rafa's tactics. For me personally, it was extremely frustrating.
But
I
that's exactly
it
what was his
But that was the
plan.
point. That was the point. You know, if I'm a Newcastle fan, I'm loving that, and you're loving, you know, every challenge,
Yeah.
every time Chelsea put the ball out of play. You know, the point is to frustrate the other team, and Newcastle set up brilliantly. Rafa, obviously, we know is an unbelievable manager, and he did. This team did exactly what he meant them to do.
Yeah.
But I. Obviously, personally supporting Chelsea, I feel like there was a justification in the result. It's good to you know get another 3 points, especially away at St James's Park. Chelsea have had an awful record recently, but yeah, still up there, still same points as Liverpool.
Same points as
long as
Watford.
as well, as long as we can stay up there.
Who do you play this weekend?
Chelsea play. I don't know, can't remember.
We have a top of the table clash this weekend as Watford.
Face Spurs?
Face Spurs, yeah. Watford won again, beating not Burnley. Watford beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Pereira scored another goal and did the baby shark
Chelsea play Bournemouth. Sorry.
celebration.
In Bournemouth?
No, it's not.
No, it's a Stamford Bridge. That's another good win for Watford. Who they do have decent starts, and this Watford team looks like it's got a bit more about it than the last couple. Fulham got their first win of the year.
Looked very impressive. What a goal!
By Surrey, and then I know that the two Newcastle lads, Mitro scored. That's not ideal. Like,
Twice.
is it? Twice.
Yeah.
And he's flying, like, isn't he? Again, that's not really ideal. We'll let the lads talk about that when we focus on Newcastle in the next couple of weeks. You've already spoke about Arsenal obviously winning.
Yeah, very happy.
Bournemouth came back. They love coming back against Merseyside teams. Came back from 2-0 down, and a man down, and obviously Everton had a man down as well, and come back to draw 2-2.
Good game that.
Bournemouth are unbeaten this year, aren't they? I think they are, yeah.
2 draws.
Two draws and a win, I think, yeah. What was the other results? Man City drew with Neil's Wolves on the opening game of the weekend. Wolves are just like the team you kind of want to watch when they're playing, because you know they're going to be very good. Like Moutinho is just different. I know Neves last year was brilliant and stuff, and he's still quite young, but I could watch players like Jean Moutinho all day long.
Yeah.
He's superb.
Hopefully they build something special there. They already have, but I mean, like, hopefully they push into the top 10 and also established teams like you like seeing them back in the Premier League. Leeds as well. Like I just give them a mention as well. Like how well they're doing. Looks like they could be making their long-awaited return to the Premier League. I know it's early days, but
they're absolutely flying.
Looks like it's going to be hard to stop them. Who else will we leave out?
Burnley, they were beat by Fulham.
And Burnley need to watch here because they played last week against Olympiacos. They lost the game quite convincingly, and to be honest, they're going to struggle, I think, with the demands. I think it would be safer if they went out. I don't think it would be good for them to go into the Europa League.
That's a massive 6-pointer on Sunday against United.
Yeah, it is indeed. But look, at least one manager's sure of his job after the game, no matter what happens, and that's Sean Dyche.
And we know one manager will play good football, and that's Sean Dyche. Cardiff, they drew Huddersfield 0-0, and they play Arsenal this weekend.
Yeah, Cardiff are quite tough. Like they're
the most as the Football Ramble. I know we shouldn't big up the podcast, but I don't care. We do. They were talking how violent Cardiff are, and they're the most violent team I've seen in years. And finally Socrates is going to head. I'd say if he doesn't head 1,100 balls on Sunday, I'd be surprised. The amount of crosses that are going to come his way.
Oh no, it's just going to be Neil Warnock. But the thing about it is that the new style of Unai Emery is very different. he wants them to play possession based. I think Cardiff will be happy to sit back and allow Arsenal to have possession, and there's no rush for Arsenal to give it away. The key thing is though the first goal in this game. If Cardiff get it, it'll be very, very difficult for Arsenal. But I am hopeful that Arsenal will get the result.
And Cardiff through Huddersfield mentioned that.
Yeah.
There's one more. Oh, England's Harry Maguire scored for Leicester to beat Southampton.
But he's also ended up with a dodgy enough injury.
I suppose.
Fractured skull.
No, that was Will King.
Oh, sorry.
That's King.
Apologies.
You couldn't fracture Harry Maguire's skull, is it?
You're mixing up your English centre halves.
Yeah, that's right.
Just before
You think
we...
they had enough of them?
Aye. Well, they're looking at after a certain race, and just I seen another race that commented there about the Great British Bake Off, and also Aaron McBrien as well about the Great British Bake Off. Two lads I have the pleasure of working with. Lad, you'll just have to watch it and catch up, obviously, because you'll be supporting me in watching this, or next day in work will be you'll have serious issues. Fantasy football to round up. I'll let you two take over as I'm useless of fantasy football.
Yeah, I suppose the key thing here is that congratulations to Jason Duddy. He picked up the most points of the week, 79 points, which was excellent. Fellow Arsenal fan, so I'm always keen to support them. And they picked up a lot of points. I actually had Richarlison who was sent off, but
who's been called up to the Brazil squad?
Yeah.
So Savinho, and he doesn't play.
And also just mention that Vardy and Cahill have said they're stepping back from England.
But not retiring, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Who knows? So Jason's done very well there. He's really rocketed up the fantasy league. Unfortunately, Renshaw rejects have fallen off top spot, and Xavi Townsend has again the top spot. He's on 232 points, quite a bit ahead of me, and therefore my managerial credentials have well and truly been proven to be what would you say?
Lax.
Yeah, very, very poor. But
it's alright, yes.
I mean, you came into it with a big ego. You told us you wanted to do fantasy, how you'd won it 3 times, and you were so successful, and now you're in big trouble. So you need to pull the finger out.
But the consistency, I'm not going to come out here and say that I've won it 3 times in a row like somebody else, more than any of the rest of the league put together.
Listen, we'll be back next week on Tuesday night. So unfortunately, yes, Bake Off might be in the way, but as I said, you just watch that later.
Take your buns and watch us.
Smell bacon. I think my good lady might be baking something, so that's happy days for me. We'll be back next week. Also, absolutely devastating news that international football is back next week. There's a fucking international break. We've only just finished the World Cup, and now we're going back into the Nations League. But we will talk a bit about that there. We will also cover next week, and we'll see what's going on with Declan Rice and the Ireland setup. We'll look ahead to I know Ireland are going to be getting on, and a few other things. So tune in next week as we look back to what happened at the weekend, and obviously look in the national break. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, pleasure, good luck.